Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking at 3 different websites that I think you guys should use instead of coding bootcamps, instead of paid ways to learn coding. I think there's a ton of great free resources online out there, and today we're going to be going through 3 of my favorite websites that are completely free and that I think do a better job than a lot of coding bootcamps online do at teaching how to code, and at basically just the variety of things you can learn and the way they actually teach it. As always everyone, if you enjoy the content, feel free to subscribe to the channel and like the video. It helps me out so much and I really appreciate it. So guys, as you can see, the first website we're going to be looking at is FreeCodeCamp. So this one is a very popular website. I mean, I've talked about it on my channel many times, and we're just going to be going through it a bit, and I'm just going to be showing you guys why I think this is such a better alternative to coding bootcamps, to courses that can take thousands of dollars. Why I think a free website like this could actually be good enough to teach you how to code, especially if you're self-disciplined and you'll actually take the time and the effort to actually learn how to code. I think there's more than enough content here for you. So as you can see right away from the main page, there's so many different courses from front end to JavaScript, how to make APIs, data analysis, machine learning, even coding interview preps. So there's a lot of great content, and basically what they recommend to you is to start at the beginning if you're completely new to coding, right? So let's explore this path for a bit, and I can show you guys a couple of the great features that there are on FreeCodeCamp. So if we click on the start from scratch, the very beginner coding course, which I recommend you take if you're brand new to coding, it teaches you some of the basic concepts, right? It starts with HTML, how to display code, and basically there's a couple of different sections, right, that you can see here. So this part on the left really just is like the lecture, it's the lessons, the notes. It like welcomes you and then kind of gives you a little some information on what you're actually working with here. So here we're looking at the H1 tag, how to open a tag, how to close a tag, and basically with every single slide, every single level of this, you write the code here, right? So this is like the text editor kind of. This is where the output comes from the tests, and this is where this is what your code is actually doing, right? So if I add a couple of O's, right, you see it's actually displaying the code in real time. So what you can do is run the tests, and basically look, it's saying it should have the text hello world. So what do? You just add this, run the tests again, and it tells you, okay, you've completed the current challenge. You can submit and then go to the next challenge. So you can see now there's another challenge, and we're working with different elements. So it gives you some hints as well. So create an H2 element, get a closing tag, add some text, and basically what you'll do is you'll add the H2 and then cat photo app, and you can see okay, as you're adding stuff, it appears and it basically gives you instant feedback. What I like about FreeCodeCamp and websites that use this kind of UI to teach how to code is that, one, it takes away all the setup from you, right? You don't have to set up any kind of environment on your computer. You can just go online and actually just start coding right away. And I think that's really valuable because for me personally, the setup, and especially when I was brand new to coding, getting something set up on my computer and getting it actually just to run, I'm not even trying to code or anything. I just wanted to, open up and work. That was often the hardest part, and it can be really demotivating. So if you can just have some kind of software where you don't have to do any setup at all, and you just start coding, I think that's awesome, and that's exactly what FreeCodeCamp does. And also what I was gonna say is that it gives you instant feedback. So you can instantly see if what you're doing is right, if what you're doing is wrong, and you can change it right away. And I really like that too. You don't have to set anything up. It just automatically gives you instant feedback on your code. And getting that good instant feedback when you're making progress and you're doing it correctly, that really motivates you to keep going and go on to the next step. And I just really think that FreeCodeCamp does this very, very well. So we can go to, see, this is where we're starting, right? So this is kind of the trajectory you go on when you take the completely beginner path. And you can see it starts with HTML elements, basically builds on that, creating text fields, forms, buttons. So really, really kind of like the basic stuff you need. And then it moves on to CSS and a couple of other topics as well. So you can see that, okay, creating a set of buttons. So you can see that already it's a lot more complicated than what we were working with before, right? And what I also want to mention is that all of these build upon each other. So you start off with a simple hello, and then you can see that halfway through you've built this whole thing with a form to input texts with different lists, and so what you're doing is you're building on a project, and I think that's a great way to teach coding. It could, because you're using the same code, you're just building on top of it slowly, and I think that's an awesome strategy. So Free Code Camp, guys, is a great resource. Like I said before, there's interview prep also, so you can just do a ton of, you know, coding challenges if that's what you want to do. And this is all completely free, and it follows that same kind of UI where you just run tests, right? It doesn't, it's obviously failing because I didn't do it, but you know, all of this is so much content. Front end, you can do front end development, a whole course on a jQuery, React, Redux together. There's 47 courses on creating components, and this kind of stuff is super in demand, and this kind of knowledge is priceless. So I would definitely recommend, guys, if you know you want to learn how to code, you don't want to spend like too much money, and you're looking for a genuine good resource, I think that Free Code Camp is probably the best you can go. And as you keep going, you know, machine learning, a ton of stuff. All you have to do, again, guys, is if you're using these kind of resources online, the most important part is that you're disciplined, that you actually stick to it, and that you actually put the effort in, right? So make a plan and stick to the plan, because all of this is well and great, but if you don't actually take the time and actually, you know, learn how to code, actually, you know, spend hours a day coding, it's all for nothing, right? So please, if you're going to use this, don't just think it's okay. There's a free code camp. It's completely free. This is awesome. You actually have to put the work in, and it's all on you. So I would like prioritize making it some sort of plan first before diving into this, right? You know, allocate time during every day of when you're going to code, how many times a week, and all this kind of stuff, so that you actually stay accountable and you actually learn how to code. The next website we're going to be talking about is another website that I featured on my channel, and it's called the Odin Project. Now, unlike Free Code Camp, the Odin Project focuses primarily on web development. So there's none of the machine learning or coding prep or interview prep, and none of like that other stuff. It's just focusing on web development. So when you start off, basically you have 3 paths you can take, right? The first one you should take if you're brand new is Foundations. So it just gives you, you know, an introduction to the different tools you need to build websites, to, you know, the foundations of basically what you need to know. And then, based on whether you want to learn JavaScript or Ruby on Rails, you kind of take a more advanced path, and it kind of goes into more detailed topics that you need to know. So if we start off with the Foundations path, we can just kind of get a feel for what's going to happen, right? So these are all the different sections of the Foundations path. There's an introduction. It helps you install, you know, everything you need for your dev environment. It teaches you how to use Git, because you're going to be using GitHub to like store all your code. Then some front end, JavaScript basics, and back end, right? And then a conclusion. So this is genuinely a great, you know, simple like, you know, lectures on how to start off with web development. And what I really like is that there's projects as well, and so we'll get into those too. But you know, if we just start off with the first lecture, this is kind of what everything looks like. It's just some text, and you just go through it and you complete it, and then you go on to the next lesson, and you kind of read you read these slides, right? And there's like different lectures in there that are helping you out to learn. You know, there's videos, and they link to different things, but primarily it's basically you reading this text, following the instructions, and then, you know, coding. And the difference is between this kind of teaching and what we had on Free Code Camp is that in Free Code Camp you actually have an IDE in the website. You can actually code and see instant feedback. You can see what's happening. And the Odin Project unfortunately does not have that. But that being said, you know, there's really good information here, and there's like, you know, the projects that you're using, there's detailed instructions on how to set everything up and how to, you know, pull the code down. And you know, this kind of knowledge is also really important, how to use Git and all this kind of stuff. So the Odin Project leaves a lot of the work up to you, but once you get that work done and you're working with these projects, you're running it and everything, it's really a valuable you know, knowledge base of information, and there's really good stuff here on this website, right? And like you're going through a Git and learning all these things, and then at the end, you know, there's a little knowledge check of if you actually understood everything. There's always additional resources, like see how to write a Git commit message, like just these useful little articles and stuff like that to just, you know, solidify the knowledge that you're learning. But Yeah, I mean, the only negative thing is that there's not that IDE and that coding that you can do right off the bat, right, in the website. You have to set everything up, you have to install things, and kind of it takes a bit more time. But if you can follow these instructions and get it done, then it's a great resource. And really, from like a first impression kind of point of view, looking at these fundamentals, right, there's so many good articles that they share, and it says, okay, read this before you start, read this one, and then it discusses in detail. It has like, everything looks good, and then there's very detailed explanations, and it really doesn't skip over everything. And then after every lesson, there's a place to practice. So, it's not the same as Free Code Camp, but all you have to do is it's really more hands-on. It really doesn't hold your hand as much, and there's a bit more, work to do up front with the Odin Project. But I genuinely think that the knowledge here and the resources on this website are priceless, and that it's a great place to start. If you want web development, like, it teaches you the front end, back end, how to connect the two, and then basically just build some basic websites, rock, paper, scissors, Etch-a-Sketch, a calculator. I mean, the fact that it gives you projects to really work on and to complete, I think is great. And we can also look at the other paths, right? So where's the paths? Right, let's do Ruby on Rails. So look at all the lessons here. So it goes from Ruby programming, databases, Ruby on Rails, HTML, CSS, and then JavaScript, and then also getting hired. I actually didn't see this before, but I guess it basically helps you, with interview prep and stuff like that, which is great. But full stack Ruby on Rails. So you open this course, and then look, what you start off with is an intro to Ruby. And you read about, your classics, your loops, arrays, hashes, all this stuff. It goes through what a loop is, while loop, until loop. It gives you everything you need to know, really. And then it basically jumps into a couple of projects that you can work on. And basically what you do is you kind of just work on these assignments. You can go on GitHub, you pull the code, you change it up, you submit it, and then you basically get it working. And it tells you everything you need to know about, how to get the code working and stuff. And you can even look at other people's solution as well. If you get stuck, if you don't really know what to do, looking at other people's solutions could help you out and could kind of put you on the right direction. But I would recommend genuinely trying like your own solutions a couple of times before jumping into other people's solutions, for sure. But even like here, object-oriented programming, it gives you a good introduction. It links you to some good resources, and then it gives you an assignment. And it look how detailed this stuff is. Do the Code Academy Ruby sections 9 and 10. Read about this. Read through this. So it really gives you a lot of different resources, and then a couple of quizzes. So just to genuinely solidify the knowledge, there's so many different stuff, and I just think that with all this knowledge here, that if you really finish it all, and there's a Ruby final project too. So I don't know, I just feel like if you go through all this and genuinely put in the effort, then it really will give you a great foundation. You'll have a couple of projects under your belt, and that's really awesome too. I haven't really taken a look at this, but it looks like it's not, instead of interview prep, it's kind of building a resume and a portfolio and stuff like that. So it's definitely valuable knowledge. And like I said before, guys, the Odin Project, like Free Code Camp, completely free. And it's a great resource. For the same kind of stuff, coding boot camps can charge you tens of thousands of dollars, and it's just not necessary when you have these courses, these free courses, all this information for free. And now the final resource that I wanted to talk about is Harvard CS50. It's an introduction to computer science course. That is what they teach at Harvard. It's the same course, and you can basically take it online for free at EDX. It's an 11-week program, I think. If you follow their plan and do everything step by step, it should take you around 11 weeks to finish, which is a basic university course, right? And there's lectures for every single week. So let's take a look at a lecture. Right, so there's compiling, CS50 library, all this kind of stuff. You can look through the real course and just watch the lecture for yourself. And there's slides, notes, labs. I think there's labs every couple of weeks where you go to you go to a website that they have, and you pull the code down, you complete the assignment, and it's great. And every week is broken down into lectures, into video, audio, and then there's the problem sets as well at the end of the week. So every single week you get a series of problems after you read all the lectures that's super in depth. And you have to remember that these lectures are genuinely what they teach at Harvard. So these professors are the ones they teach, like, Harvard students. And it's just, the knowledge that you're being given here for free is so priceless. People pay thousands of dollars to take these courses, like, in person with these professors that are super experienced. And you can just, do this online for free. And you can see that it goes through a ton of very in-depth topics, arrays, algorithms, memory, basically everything that an introduction to a computer science course would have, you can expect here. And there's even a final project, and there's projects every single week, mixed into labs and problem sets. And really, I mean, you can look at these assignments for yourself and kind of get an idea of what it is, but it's super in depth. All the instructions are there, and there's even like walkthroughs by TAs and stuff like this. So even without the main lectures, there's different shorts that explain to you a lot of different videos that are explaining different topics. Like this is about data types, and so there's also operators, conditional statements. And I mean, it's really like, if you follow this, guys, like I said before, no one's going to do the work for you. But if you take their 11-week program and kind of plan it out, treat it like a real university course, so watch the lectures on like Monday and Wednesday, for example, then spend a couple of hours every day working on the problem sets, working on the labs, and really just treat it like you're in university again. I mean, I think by the end of the 11 weeks, you're gonna have a very, very solid understanding. And like I said before, guys, completely free. So free code camp, the Odin Project, CS50, 3 amazing websites online that are completely free and that should serve as like alternatives to those of you that are thinking of going to a coding boot camp or kind of buying some course or whatever it is. There are great options out there for you if you don't want to spend any money. And I hope you guys got some valuable information from this video, and like will genuinely consider one of these websites if you're embarking on your journey of learning how to code. Genuinely take a look at these websites. Maybe one of them is for you. I would recommend it. So guys, as always, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like down below, subscribe to the channel. It helps me out so much. You can always unsubscribe. If you guys think I missed anything, or if you know any other websites that I missed, leave a comment down below. And as always, everyone, enjoy your coding.